Hello you guys, and welcome back to another episode of Mental Health with Megan. So first of all, the reason why my door is open is because I know for a fact the second I close it, my cat is going to want to come in. Anyways, this is probably the only time that you guys will see me filming a podcast episode in full glam. I just had my graduation photo shoot. I just came back from my graduation photo shoot, and I figured since I already look all pretty, I might as well film this video right now. So, as we always start off with a little life update, I don't think I got my tattoo yet when I filmed my last video, so for those of you who didn't know, I got a new tattoo, and I was debating on talking about this for like a different podcast episode, specifically where I would talk about like my dad and the whole situation, but I figured since I'm showing you guys now and you can see it if anybody is wondering, it is a fire helmet with the number 8, which was the number on my dad's helmet, and the December birth flowers laying next to it. And this is a memorial tattoo in honor of my dad, who passed away when I was 2-ish, 2.5. And yeah, I always knew that I wanted a memorial tattoo for him, but it took me a little while to kind of figure out what was perfect, and when I told the tattoo artist what I wanted, he nailed it spot on, and the tattoo came out absolutely beautiful, and I love the fact that I'm always going to be able to memorialize my dad every day of my life. And you know, I don't always love talking about the situation, but I do love that, you know, obviously people ask about tattoos all the time and they ask about what they mean and stuff, and I like that I'll be able to kind of talk about my dad, and you know, his legacy will live on through me. So that's probably the most important thing that's happened since the last episode, except also that I am graduating college. Oh, college grad! Not yet. Well, as I said, I haven't graduated yet, but I am very close. Today is Tuesday, May 14th, and my graduation is on Thursday, May 16th, and wow, well, that's why I wanted to do an episode talking about college and graduation and kind of like what they don't tell you about college and graduation, like things that you should know before you go to college. Things like that. So before we get into that, I have some questions for like the answering deep questions videos that I wanted to answer before I forget again. These have been sitting in my phone for so long, so I want to answer these before I forget again. And this week I decided to not do the segments like I did in the last episode, and just to do some questions, the little life update, and then the topic of the day. Okay, so question number 1 is, what matters to you the most? I would say what matters to me the most is my family and friends and my cats, and having what I need is something I've learned, you know, kind of recently, is something that really matters to me, is having what I need, because I have been obsessing about what I want and having the things I want and trying to work my ass off to have the things that I want, and I think it's great if you have what you want, and I think that sometimes in life you get what you want and sometimes you don't, and sometimes it's the other way around. Sometimes you get what you want and not what you need, and that's kind of an important life lesson, is as long as you have what you need in life, that's what matters. Next question is, what brings you joy? A lot of things bring me joy, you know, reading my books, playing music, listening to music, singing, dancing, acting, writing, baking, cooking, writing poetry, crafting, painting, making jewelry, horseback riding, animals, my cats, my friends, my family, my mom, going to the movies, meeting new people, making new friends. Like, there are so many things that bring me joy. I could go on and on about the list of things that bring me joy. I like this question because it's a reason for me to think about it, and it kind of, I don't know, I feel like it just kind of brightened my spirits a little bit about everything. Like, there are so many things that bring me joy in this very moment, and I think sometimes the things that bring you joy in the moment that you're in, you kind of forget about them, or they're in the back of your head, or they go unnoticed, things like that. Yeah, just remember that there are probably things that bring you joy even when you think there aren't, which brings me to the topic of gratitude. I guess we'll do the gratitude segment for today. So 3 things that I'm grateful for today is my graduation photographers. I had 2 of them and they killed it. I am grateful that I made it to graduation, and I am grateful for my school counselor who helped me through college. Number 5 is, what's the best advice you ever received? This is a tough one. Probably to have more fun. Have more fun. I tend to be a little bit of a workaholic, and it's like, I feel like my life is very like one thing or the other. Like, I'm either working or I'm at home in bed. You know, like, that's kind of my life lately, is work or I'm home just relaxing, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But I need to go out and have some more fun. Also, I just want to point out that this is day 3 of my hair, of my like curls. My hair has looked so good these past few days, so I need to curl my hair more. What makes you laugh out loud? My friends when they're being funny. Memes. How do you know when you've made the right decision? That's a tough question. That's a tough question. I don't think that you always know. I don't think that you always know right away, or know that you made the right decision. You know, because I'm very indecisive, and there's lots of hard choices I've had to make where I'll make the choice and I still won't know that it's right. I think sometimes it takes time to know that it's right. You know, like, maybe you change careers and you end up not liking the career that you switched into. You know, like, I think sometimes it takes time, and I think it's okay to let it take time. Like, I don't think it's something that you have to be like right away, like, I know this is the right choice and I should make it because I know. Like, I think sometimes you do just know right away and you're like, okay, I know that this is the decision I want to make. And other times you don't, and that's okay. And you kind of just have to like roll with the punches. What's the purpose of art? I love this question. I think the purpose of art is to express your creativity and express yourself. And I think art, just like theater and acting, I think art can like evoke feelings. Like, what is art? Music, ceramics, paintings, sculptures, theater, crafts, handmade jewelry, handmade candles. Like, art could be like so many different things. I consider it to be any kind of craft, music, theater. So yeah, I think that art is just like, it's an outlet also. Like, art is a creative outlet for a lot of people. You know, they use art as an outlet, and I think that's amazing. I think that's great. I think everybody needs to have an outlet. You need to have a passion. You need to have something that you can focus on and get better at and do in your time that makes you happy and brings you joy, which is why I do theater and why I write and why I read and why I film YouTube videos. Like, I have all these different things that I do that I love to do that are like kind of like outlets for me, you know? Number 9, what's one lie you're glad that you told? You know, I don't really know if I have any lies that I'm glad that I told. Like, I kind of understand the question. I do think that sometimes lying is the better option, and like a white lie, nothing crazy. You know, like a white lie here and there I think is fine, and sometimes it is the better option. But what's a lie that I'm glad I've told? Probably when I told Haley that I was going to Miami, and she FaceTimed me and I was at the airport and she was like, where are you? And I was like, I'm going to Miami. And then I actually showed up at her house for her 16th birthday. Yeah, for her 16th birthday. I showed up at her birthday, and she was very surprised. And she was like, really, you lied to me? And I was like, yup, I lied because I wanted to surprise you. That's a good lie. Surprising people, you can lie if you're surprising someone. What's your favorite book and why? Where the Crawdads Sing, because my grandma gave me her copy and she was always talking about how good the book was. And it was kind of one of those books where there's a lot of points in the book where it's like slow and kind of boring, but then towards the end, it gets really good. The end was so good, and then they recently came out with the movie of that, so I read the book and then watched the movie, and now the book and the movie are some of my favorite. And it's also nice that I had my grandma's copy and I was reading my grandma's copy. It's just like sentimental. And I think like to share the gift of a book is to share emotion and connection and an experience. Like to know that you both read the same book is like cool. Me and my friends like trade books a lot, and I think that's like I love knowing that like we're both reading the same book, or I read the same books as my grandma. Like I don't know, there's just something about like sharing a book with someone you love. I love it. If you had to choose your last meal, what would it be? Wagyu steak, asparagus, and my homemade mashed potatoes, because they are so good. They're the best. They're the only ones I ever want. That's my like favorite go-to meal. So good. I mean, I don't buy Wagyu for my dinner all the time, but you know, probably like that or like Korean barbecue or something, because I love steak. And the last question for now, what was the highlight of your day today? The highlight of my day today was leaving work early. I have a couple actually. Leaving work early and my grad photo shoot today also. And then I have dance later, so today's overall been a pretty good day. I'm not gonna lie, I'm feeling pretty tired right now. It's 5:11 p.m. And I won't be home from dance until like almost 10. And then I have to like shower and get ready for bed. So I mean, I don't usually go to bed until like 12 anyway, but still, I do have to be up early tomorrow too, like 7:30, which for me is early. But yeah, I had a lot of good highlights of today. I am not gonna lie though, I'm debating skipping dance, and this is why I don't know, I'm just tired. It's just late, like it's at 8 o'clock at night. By 8 o'clock at night, I'm ready to be in bed and do nothing. So to have to drive 40 minutes, do an hour-long dance class, drive 40 minutes back at that hour of the night is very like grueling, but I do like it and I do have fun when I'm in the class. I just don't like the driving so much, but that's part of it. If I want to go, gotta drive myself. Unfortunately, I don't have a chauffeur, and I'm too old to have my mommy driving me places. I feel like that's something that you take for granted when you're young, is like your parents driving you everywhere because it's just normal, you know. But then when you grow up and you have to drive yourself everywhere, I hate driving. Like sometimes it's tiring. It gets tiring, especially because I literally drive all day long at work. Like I spend a lot of time in the car and I don't like it. I don't like it. Sometimes it's like nice to like go for a drive and listen to music and just like vibe. But like, I don't know, like I honestly really, I'm sick of driving. But yeah, so that's that. So now, on to the topic of graduation. I am graduating, like I said, on Thursday, May 16th, so by the time you guys see this, I probably will have graduated already, which is like super exciting. I have had a very tough time in college. For those of you who don't know, I got my associate's degree in theater, hence my grad cap. It says rehearsal's over, it's showtime. Yeah, I talk about theater quite a lot. I've been doing theater since I was like 6 years old. I've been stage crew, made costumes, designed sets, done lighting, acting, all of it really. And I love it. That's why I went to school, to get a degree in theater. And it's also nice that I like know I got my gen eds out of the way too. So as of this week, I will have my associate's degree in theater. As of this moment, all my assignments are done, my final exams are done. I just have to go pick up my art at campus tomorrow, and that will be the last time I will have to go to campus ever. And how am I feeling about graduating? Excited, obviously, but also a little bit sad. It's a little bit bittersweet, especially because I have talked about this before already. I've made the decision as of now, for now, at this moment, I will not be going back to college because I don't like college, if I'm being honest. I'm not a school person. I never have been, never will be. I don't like studying, but also because it's expensive, and because over the past 3 years I've been working part-time and in full-time college, and even just working part-time, like, it's been so hard to be in full-time school and work part-time. And it's been very hard financially to balance that, and have enough time for school and make enough time to, you have to go to work, like, to work and have to make time for school around your work schedule and whatever. It hasn't been easy. And I do think that if I returned to college right now, I wouldn't make it through the next 2 years. I mean, I probably would, but like, I would probably suffer through the next 2 years. And the great thing about theater is that you don't even need a degree to be an actress, or, to work in a theater. You really don't need a degree. But I always knew that I wanted to go to college. I mean, I kind of didn't really have a plan when it came time to go to college when high school was over. I didn't really think about it. Like, I wasn't really always thinking about it. Like, my senior year, I think it's because I was homeschooled, like, the last 2 years of high school, too. Like, I wasn't thinking about what was next for me. But I decided to enroll in community college, and I knew that I wasn't ready to leave. Like, I knew when I started thinking about college, I knew I didn't want to go away to a 4-year school. Also because it was 2021, it was after COVID, and a lot of stuff was still online and wearing masks and all that. We had to wear masks for the first couple years or the first like 3 semesters that I was in college. We were wearing masks. Like, we did online classes, some in person, some online. But I knew for the most part I wasn't ready to like up and leave my family, and I'm glad I didn't, because my aunt and my grandma passed away while I was in college, and I can't imagine, like, having to get that news over the phone and being a few hours away from my family. I can't imagine having that have been different. So I'm glad that I didn't. I don't regret staying. I'm glad that I didn't go away. I also, like, I go back and forth between, like, I think I would really like being away at college, and I think I would hate it, because, like, living in a dorm with one or more people just does not seem fun to me. I am a person that, like, I like to be alone. I don't even like sleepovers. Like, I like having sleepovers with, like, my best friend and, like, certain people in my life I like having sleepovers with, but not everyone. Like, I have to be very close with someone to enjoy it. And I just really like having my own personal space and stuff, so, like, I wasn't sure if I would like living in a dorm or not. I know a lot of people that went and they didn't like it and they ended up coming back, and that's fine. At least, good for you, at least you tried it. But yeah, I enrolled in community college, and it was not easy. It was not easy. For my theater portion of my degree, we had to do production labs, which were 3-hour classes. Yeah, from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m., 2 days a week. Yeah, so we were doing 6 hours a week of production lab, which is time consuming. That's hard, and trying to do that and find time to work and find time for homework and find time to study and find time to hang out with my friends and be social and find time to freaking take a break. Like, there's been so many days in the past 3 years where I have been literally just in a whirlwind, like, running around from school to work, back to school for rehearsal, back and forth here and there, and it's just been so chaotic. It's been tough. It has been very tough. And I started my aide job around the same time I started college, I believe. And I got fired from my first position during my second semester, no, my second year, my second full semester, and that was a very hard time. I had to borrow money from family in order to pay my bills and pay my rent, and it was a very difficult time. Like, I was panicked when I found out that I got fired, because who's gonna, I haven't had the support financially from my mom. And I've talked about this before. I talk to my mom. I love my mom. She just isn't able to support me financially. This is just my life. And I feel like a lot of the time I have a hard time accepting that. Like, I'm just always like, why me? Like, why does this have to be my situation? I've had a very hard time accepting that this is my life. It's not gonna change. This is the way it is. And I've said this before too, that I kind of feel like I was 18 and like I felt like a bird that got dropped out of its mom's nest and just had to like figure out how to fly by myself. And you know, it has not been easy, but I do think it has been worth it. I think, like everything, it's something that has its ups and downs. So I've had a lot of very hard times in college. I had hard time in the beginning. I had a little bit of a hard time making friends because it was COVID before that. We were in quarantine. I was not in high school anymore, like regular high school. So like I had a hard time getting back to like being social. And I'm also like shy at first. I like being social, but sometimes I'm a little shy at first still. So I had a little bit of a hard time making friends. And even now, there were certain people I met throughout college who I thought I'd be friends with forever. And now that college is coming to an end, I'm realizing that that's not the case. You know, like now some of us are gonna go our separate ways again, just like it is when you're ending high school. And I think a lot of these friendships have kind of come to an end, you know, and a lot of these people weren't really reaching out to me to hang out after we stopped being in the same classes and stuff, and I don't always want to be the one to like make plans. Like that's not fair. So I kind of don't really talk to some of them anymore, and some of them I'll see them here and there and stuff, but it's kind of sad that like, you know, a lot of people graduated and went their own way, and that's that. And I have some friends that graduated and they didn't go away, they're still here, but they kind of just like, the friendships just kind of died off, and there's really nothing you can do about that. But I have been kind of sad about it. I have been, because I'm like, I had friends in college, and now I'm, you know, finishing up my first degree, and I'm finishing up college for now, and I'm not friends with a lot of those people anymore. And I also, like, there was drama in my college, and one of my favorite theater quotes is "save the drama for the stage," but the college kids that I went to school with did not know how to do that. There was a lot of drama, and I found out that some people were saying things about me behind my back, and it was kind of hard to believe that that was happening in college. I was like, oh my god, this is crazy to me that this is literally like high school all over again. What the fuck? So be prepared if you go to college that you are still gonna run into immature people. And I think I'm very mature because I had to grow up fast, and I just am mature from what I've learned and what I've been through. Not everyone is mature like that. Not everyone is able to be mature like that. There's still bullies in college. There are going to be people that you don't like. There are going to be professors that you don't like, just how in high school there's teachers that you don't like. So it is similar to high school. I don't think they did a good job preparing us in middle school and high school for college. Like they always say like, oh, well, we're just trying to prepare you for college. And then you get to college and you're like, I was not prepared for this. So when your teachers are saying they're trying to prepare you, they probably are trying to help prepare you, but they might not be able to prepare you in the way that you need. That's another thing too. But I just had a lot of hard things happen while I was in college, and to keep going was very hard. I had deaths in the family, so I was very depressed and grieving. I moved twice. I changed jobs 3 or 4 times. Yeah, 3 or 4 times. I was in between jobs at points. Actually, 5 times. I had 5 jobs while I was in college. Probably more than that, honestly. I'm probably miscounting. While I was trying to run my 3 small businesses, my businesses got just like pushed to the side. Like I was unable to do it, and I was very unmotivated and too busy to do it. So a lot of the time my businesses just got like pushed to the side, and there was nothing I could do about it. I just had to like wait it out and like find the right time to like get it going again. And I'm still struggling with that, but that's part of owning a business, which I talked about in my last episode. But like I had a lot of shit happen to me while I was in college. A lot of shit. I was in a relationship. I was in another separate complicated situationship for the first probably like 2 years of college. or the first year at least, with my ex, where we were kind of like on and off, which was very hard. And then he left for college, which was hard to say goodbye to him and have that person that was part of my life for so long just taken away from me. And even though he said that we would still talk after, we don't really talk anymore, which is kind of sad too. It's a little bit sad, and like, not only did I lose people to death, I lost friendships in college, and I lost romantic relationships too. So I gained a lot, but I lost a lot too. It was almost like for every like good thing that happened, something bad happened to counteract it. Also, that's how I felt like for the majority of the past 3 years. Thankfully, this semester nothing crazy happened. Thank God. Like, knock on wood, don't let anything else happen now, amen. But for the rest of the other semesters, a lot of shit happened, crazy shit. I had Lyme disease, I had mono, last spring, I was in the hospital for like 4 days, and I was sick for about 2 weeks. And I had missed the last couple weeks of school, like the last 2 weeks of school. I think when I went back to school, it was like the last week, or maybe the second to last week. So I was like, oh my god, like, I'm gonna fail all my classes. Thankfully, I didn't. I didn't get the best grades. You know, I passed math by like 1 point. One of my other professors gave me a D, which I really do not think I deserved, because I made up the work that I missed, and I did more, like, extra credit and stuff, and he still gave me a D, and that wasn't fair to me at all. Especially because he kind of like promised that he would give me a C, and then he didn't. So I was kind of like, okay, that's great, thank you. Like, why would you do that to me? That was the same professor, oh, I hate his guts so much. The same professor that when I was talking to him about having to balance like school and rehearsal and work, so when I was talking to him about this stuff, he was literally telling me to quit. He was basically telling me, like, if you can't do both, if you can't handle both, then you should quit school. And that was very weird to me coming from a professor, because you would think that a professor would be telling you the opposite, would be telling you like, I'm proud of you, you're doing a good job, you should stay in school, like, you're almost done there, you know, like, encouraging things, not the opposite. And being that I had also been told to quit college by my family, I was like really offended by that coming from a professor. I just think it was weird and unprofessional for a professor to like, and he said it in a really mean way too, to say that to a student. And we had a lot of interesting professors in the theater department, and a lot of them I didn't like. And a lot of them kind of like talk shit about students with other students, and just like, the professors were also like immature and like not acting professional all the time, which was very hard to deal with too. So I ran into a lot of things in college, a lot of problems that I just wasn't expecting. Overall, you know, at first it was pretty shitty. I was like, I hate production lab, I barely have any friends. For the first semester I was in lighting lab, and I was scared to like go up on the ladders and the cherry pickers most of the time. So most of the time I was standing there doing nothing. But I did learn how to hang a light, and I did kind of get over my fear a little bit. But I would stand there holding a ladder for 3 hours a day some days. That was my first semester. So right off the bat, I didn't love school. I also knew that I didn't know at first that we had to do 4 semesters worth of production lab, so when I found that out, I was not happy. And everything is kind of like all just a jumbled blur now. Like, it's hard to be like, well, this happened in this semester, and this happened in this semester. Like, everything now is kind of just one giant like blur. So it's like, I can't like say it in like timely order necessarily. Some of the things I remember, like, I know last spring I had mono. I know the spring before that my grandma died. You know, things like that. There are certain things that I like know when it happened, but others just happened throughout. Also, I think I was excited to go to college for parties, but I went to community college, and some community colleges get a little crazy, get a little wild. Like, don't get me wrong, like, some colleges that we have here that are community colleges, they have parties and stuff. Not ours, which is disappointing. Our campus was just boring. Our students, my fellow students were just boring. No, I still went to parties and clubs and stuff. I don't even think I started like going to clubs until I was in college, probably like the second year of college. My first year of college, me and my friends were still at the point where we were like sitting at our houses like drinking. I mean, we would go to parties that year, but we didn't go to clubs. I didn't even know that some clubs let you in at 18. Like, I didn't know that. That's why I wasn't going, because I didn't know that was a thing. So I know like a lot of people are excited to party and they go to four-year schools and they party a lot, party like every weekend. I don't know how people do that. And I posted a TikTok about this, like, I don't know how people, I see some friends and people that literally go out like 2 to 3 nights every weekend, like, and it like shook me to my core that people actually do that, because I'm exhausted. I've always been tired. Like, by the time Friday night had come around, I'd be like, now I have to go out and be out till 4 a.m. or whatever. Like, no thank you. Like, I don't want to go out. I want to go to my bed. But I learned that it's okay to not go out, not party. Prioritize school and work. That's fine too. Not always what I want to do. Sometimes I would rather just party all the time. But for me, I kind of really had to prioritize school and work, because that was what was most important to me in my life at the time. But it's good to have a balance. It's good to have a balance. Like, I still like going out. I try to go out like at least once a month, which is, you know, not a lot for a college-aged girl. Not a lot. A lot of my friends are going out 10 times more than that. But it's important to like have a little bit of a balance and have fun, and don't get too caught up in school and working, and don't get too caught up in partying and drinking and whatever, because that could be bad too. But like I said, I had posted a TikTok about this topic, and my friend was like, you know, like, the reason why all these people have so much energy to party all the time is because a lot of them do like cocaine and like heavy drugs. And I was like, I didn't really think about that, but like, you're probably right. And I am glad that I'm not, you know, like running around doing coke and going out. Like, that's not me. Like, I don't condone doing heavy drugs or hard drugs. Like, I don't condone doing hard drugs. You know, like, I understand maybe like wanting to try certain things, but obviously you have to be like extremely careful, and like, you know, where you're getting it from, who it's coming from, test everything. Like, they sell test strips on Amazon. Like, you have to be super careful. You have to be super careful when you're like, even if you're just like, oh, I just want to like try it out, you still have to be careful. Drugs kill people. People overdose on drugs every day. You know, people get laced drugs probably also every day. So I was never into any of that, because like yeah, I'll drink, I'll smoke some weed, but like, that's it. That is the extent of it. Weed is a plant. Weed is organic. I'm good with that. You know, I know where I'm getting my weed from. I know it's not laced with something else, so I'm good with that. But everything else, not for me. And I'm not like shaming people that do that. It's your life. Do what you want. But you just gotta be careful. That just like amazed me. Like, oh yeah, there are people, the reason why they're so energetic to party all night long 3 nights a week is probably because they're doing coke and shrooms and molly and whatever else there is. So yeah, and also just, it's important to remember, which I forget a lot, that like everyone's experience is different. A lot of my friends that have gone away to a 4-year college, they aren't also working. They only have to focus on school, which, lucky, you know, they're very lucky, and I think a lot of people take that for granted. If your parents are paying for you to live while you're in school, you are extremely lucky, because school is hard enough on its own, you know. So imagine school, put yourself in my shoes for a minute, imagine school, full-time college, 5 classes a semester, you know, 15 to 18 credits a semester, and working 30 hours a week. It has not been easy. And I think I've always kind of been kind of jealous of those people, because I'm like, wow, you know, like, they just get to go to school and have fun, and me, I'm over here going to school and working and having fun, not as much as I should be for like this time in my life. But I think it's also important to remember that everyone's life has a different timeline, and even though time does move pretty quickly and it's kind of scary to think about sometimes, we have our whole lives to have fun, you know? But I do think it is important to have a balance and to have more fun. Another thing is, I think that you should do a lot of research on where you're going to school. research your professors that you are picking too. I think that's important. That's something that, nobody really tells you, but you should do a lot of research on where you're planning to go, where you're choosing to go. Make sure you go tour it, make sure you kind of learn about everything they offer and everything you need to know about your program also, because the theater program at my community college was 5 semesters. I was not ever made aware of that until I wasn't done after my 4th semester, and then I was like, what the fuck? So that leads me to ask questions. Ask all the questions that you have. Ask all the questions that you can. Don't be afraid to ask questions. So yeah, ask questions too. Find out everything there is to know. Find out how long your program is going to take you. Find out the best way to curate your schedule so you're not overloaded with one thing versus the other, because for me, it was my gen eds and theater, and my first semester I was only taking theater classes, and then there was other semesters where I was only taking general ed classes, and both were hard in their own way. So I think it's important to think about that too, what credits you need for your major, what credits you need for your gen eds, and kind of make it so it's half each semester. I think that's what I would have done had I have known more about how college works. Yeah, check your degree works if you have a degree works, stay on top of that, because pretty much after you make your first schedule, they're either we'll do it for you or you do it yourself, and if we do it for you, it's probably not going to come out how you want, so you kind of have to learn how to do it yourself, or at least that's how it was for me. And it was hard sometimes to do scheduling. It's hard to figure out scheduling for me sometimes. I personally have a very hard time with scheduling. The amount of times that I double book myself is insane. I have some issues sometimes with scheduling. I'm usually pretty good about it, but I've made some errors and it's caused me some problems. So you have to be careful about that. I'm trying to think what else I would say to, those of you that are in high school about college. I think that it's important to know that if you don't like it and you want to drop out, that's fine. College is not for everyone. At least you tried. Trying new things can be really scary, and maybe you didn't want to go to college, but you decided to give it a try anyway and you didn't like it. That's better than never trying, because then you would never know. Maybe you didn't want to go to college and you went to college and it ended up being some of the best years of your life. You never know. I think college is a little bit of a scam. It depends. If you're going to be a lawyer or a doctor or a vet, something like that, obviously you need to go to school. You need it. You cannot do that job unless you get the proper schooling. So that's important. For something like theater, it's not as important. I went so I would have a degree. I also do think it's nice that I'm able to say from here on out when I'm working in theaters, hey, yeah, I have an associate's degree in theater, so I have some knowledge, from school about all this stuff, so that's pretty cool to me. I'm glad that I did that. I don't regret it at all. But my family was kind of always saying to me, well, what are you going to do with an associate's degree in theater? And honestly, it's not even really what you get your degree in. That was not what college was about to me. I picked something that I had hoped I would enjoy. There was things that I enjoyed. There was a lot of things that I didn't enjoy. And then I started to realize, there was a trend on TikTok a while back that's what are you going to do with a degree in whatever? And then the next slide would be something totally opposite, which made me laugh. And mine was what are you going to do with a degree in theater? Real estate, which now I don't know if I want to do that either. I don't think I want to now. But yeah, maybe I won't ever do anything with this degree. Maybe this degree will not ever help me again in my life, but I think something that's important to remember, and this is something that my mom has drilled into my head since I was in high school, is that nobody can take that away from you. Once you have your high school diploma and your college diploma, nobody can ever take that away from you. It's not like a job where you can get fired, or, a relationship where you can be used and discarded. Nobody will ever be able to take this away from you. You will be able to say for the rest of your life that I possibly suffered, thrived, or struggled through college to get this diploma, and that's that. You know, a lot of people, my mom and my relatives, I have some relatives that they went to school to get a degree in something and they never used it. They don't work in that field. They didn't use their degree. They didn't finish it. Whatever, that's okay. And I think it's important too to remember that pretty much no matter what field you're in, going to college does not guarantee you a job. You know, like, it depends on what field you're going into, but usually your degree will not guarantee you a job. But it can be very helpful in certain things. Like, certain jobs, they're gonna look if you have a degree, and if you have a degree, they're gonna pay you more than what they would pay you if you didn't have the degree. You know, so it's kind of like hit or miss, you know, it just varies. It depends on the person, it depends on your career, your field of work, what you want to do with your life. It depends on whether you want to or not. You know, trade school. I think trade school is an amazing thing. My uncle went to trade school and he was a mechanic and he made a lot of freaking money. You know, my best friend went to esthetician school, so that's not like college, but that's like a trade school kind of thing, like a beauty school, I guess, right? That's kind of like trade school. And, you know, now she's gonna start working. She just graduated. I'm so happy for her and so proud of her. And now she gets to start, she's gonna be a licensed esthetician and she gets to start working in that field. You know, like, trade school's amazing too. And it only took her like, I think 6, maybe 8 months at most. I think it was 6 months. It only took her 6 months, whereas college, for me, for theater, it took me, 3 years for just an associate's degree, which leads me to this. Another thing that I didn't really think about at first is you never really, going into college, you never know how long your degree really is going to take. You know, they tell you, you'll probably graduate in 2 years. You might graduate in 2 years. You should graduate in 2 years, whatever, when you're going for your first, like, associates. But everybody's life is different. Everybody's timeline is different. Maybe you're taking 2 classes a semester and it's going to take you 4 years to get your associate's degree. I mean, at that point, I would just go to a 4-year and get a BA, but, like, you know, it is what it is. Maybe you only want an associate's degree. For me, I don't see the point to only getting an associate's degree. Like, I want to go for my BA, kind of, but I'm on the fence about it. Like, I don't really want to, but I kind of want to. But anyways, what I was going to say is that I freaking wish I went to a 4-year college, because I could have been 1 year away from getting a BA. Whereas now, I will have graduated from this college, so I don't have to transfer. I would just be, like, starting over brand new at another college. And I can go for my BA, but it would still be another 2 years on top of the 3 that I already did for my associates. And that frustrates me so bad, and it probably will for the rest of my life, because I'm like, I could probably do 1 more year. I could handle 1 more year. Like, if I knew that I was in college right now in my 3rd year and I only had 1 year left, I know I could handle it without a doubt. 2 years, though, like, it's a big time commitment. It's a big time commitment, and I just don't know if that's right for me, and I don't know if that's the best thing for me, and I don't think that that's what I need right now. I don't think that I need to go to more school. I want to focus on my businesses. I want to be a business owner and an entrepreneur and own my businesses and have my businesses become eventually at some point my full-time thing. Then that's what I need to focus on, because I could go to 1 or 2 more years of school and pay probably anywhere from 80 to 200 grand and get another degree, and that doesn't guarantee me a job after that. And then what if I do that and after that I still want to just run my businesses? Then that's a waste of time and money. You know, time is money. Time is important. So for me, I have made the choice not to go back, which is making graduation, like, extra bittersweet for me. Also the fact that I graduated in 2021. Yeah, I graduated in 2021, and it was still kind of COVID, and I was also homeschooled. I did not get a real graduation, and a lot of people who were graduating in 2020 and 2021 did not get a real graduation. So the fact that we actually get to go this week and walk on stage and accept our diploma is, like, has me so excited. I'm, like, tweaking about it. I'm geeked about it. I'm so excited, you know, because, like, that was what I always looked forward to in high school when I was miserable. Like, okay, just gotta think about graduation. Think about graduation. And I didn't get that, you know, and that was very, very hard and very, very sad. But you know what? I do get this college graduation, and that's why I'm making like an extra big deal about it, because this might be my last ever graduation. You know, think about it. Like, you graduate preschool, sometimes you graduate kindergarten, then you graduate elementary school, then you go to secondary school, then you graduate secondary school, then you go to middle school, you graduate middle school, then you go to high school, you graduate high school, then maybe you go to college or trade school, you graduate college or trade school. You know, like, this could be my last ever graduation, and that's crazy to me, and that's what makes it like bittersweet and like a little bit sad, because it's like, think about it, we've been in school our entire lives. From the time that we're 5 years old until we're like 18, we're in like elementary through high school, sometimes even younger. You know, you go to preschool when you're like 3 or 4, and then maybe you graduate high school and you go to another 4 years of college, or even longer for certain fields of work. You know, like, I think graduating college is so crazy, because it's just like, I've been in school my whole entire life. I've had the structure and the routine of school, and I've been learning in school for these past, you know, what, like 18 years worth of school. Like, what the fuck do I do with my life now? Like, that's scary to think about, and also, like, it's just so bittersweet that this could be, like, my last ever graduation, because I don't know if I'm ever gonna end up going back to school. Like, it's not, like, completely out of the picture. Like, I didn't have a horrible experience where I'm like, oh my god, I would never ever go back to college. Maybe if the time is right for me, someday I will go, or maybe if I end up picking a different career, I'll go back to school for that, you know, like, I don't know yet, but that's okay. Another thing that's kind of scary is, like, I didn't really know what I wanted to do when I started college, and now here we are 3 years later, and I still don't really know what I want to do, and I'm like, damn. Like, I had 3 years to think about what I want to do next, and I was too busy to even think about it until this past year, and then this past year I was like, alright, I'll start researching colleges, I'll start doing whatever, and I just didn't get around to it, and then I decided that I'm not gonna go back now, and that kind of was like a little bit of a relief, knowing that I don't have to like do the FAFSA and like the financial aid paperwork and like research colleges and, you know, get a loan and like all this stuff. So it was a little bit of a relief, honestly. But if you graduate college still not knowing what you want to do, that's okay. You know, like, it's all about perspective. Like, let's say you went to college for business and now you graduate college and you're like, I don't want to do this job. That's okay. You can start over. We got all the time in the world. You know, like, that's fine. That's fine. It might suck a little bit and it might feel like you just wasted some time, but that's okay. I would rather change my mind a million times and change my major a million times and go to 10 different colleges than be stuck in a career for the rest of my life that makes me miserable. You know, so it's just all about perspective, and a lot of people, maybe they do certain careers specifically for the money too, and I get it, but it's like, I want to be happy. I want to be happy. I don't want to waste my life being an employee for some business that's not paying me enough money, you know? I want to do more than that, and I'm gonna. Or I shouldn't say gonna. I'm going to. My grandma would be like, Megan, you don't say gonna. You have to say going to. Alright, Grandma, I know. You taught me well. If I ever correct your grammar in a conversation, it's because my grandma always did it to me growing up, and I'm glad that she did, and now I'm the same way. It's like, if I hear the wrong grammar, I have to correct it. You're welcome. I'm not doing it to be rude, it's just like how I was raised. Oh, yes, there is another thing I wanted to talk about. So there's been this trend on TikTok the past couple days, because everyone's graduating right now and everyone's posting their grad pics and their videos and whatever, their TikToks about graduation, and I saw the term cordless graduate on my For You page the other day, and now it's become like a trend where like people are like posting like, you know, wear your cordless cap and gown proudly and whatever. Who came up with that? Like, that just pisses me off so much. Like, that was never something I never ever gave a single thought to that until I saw it on TikTok. And I just think that that is such bullshit. Like, who cares if you have cords and stoles and whatever, like, just graduating is enough. A cordless graduate is still a graduate, okay? You still did this. You might not have had time for extracurricular activities and you know, you might have not had perfect grades to get like an honors cord or whatever, but you are still graduating, okay? So do not be feeling bad if you are a cordless graduate, which I don't really like that term because you're a graduate nonetheless. Who cares? Who cares? Like, it's perfectly fine to graduate without cords, and I saw a lot of comments on those videos of people being like, I graduated with 5 cords, and in the long run, in the long scheme of life, like, it doesn't matter at all, and I think that's probably true. Like, would it be cool to have a cord for something? Sure, but who cares if you don't? Like, literally, who cares? It is no big deal at all. So, that's another thing. But I think that's everything I wanted to say. I am very, very happy now that I didn't quit. You know, with people literally telling me constantly to quit. Like, just quit school and work full time. Just quit school, quit. Like, no! I'm happy that I listened to my gut and I listened to myself and I didn't quit, because now I will have my degree and I will have it for the rest of my life, and I can say that I struggled and suffered in order to get it, and every minute of everything that happened was worth it, and I would not change that for the world. I think I'm without a doubt gonna cry on graduation day because it's just so, like, bittersweet, and also, like, I did it, you know, like, I really did it. Like, all the times where I thought that maybe I wouldn't, and maybe I would quit, and maybe I would just drop out, or maybe I would fail, I didn't. I did it, and I'm so proud of myself, and I do wish that my, you know, family members that have crossed over to heaven, I wish that they would be here. You know, I wish that they could be here for my graduation ceremony, but obviously I know that, you know, they got the best seat in the house. You know, really, if you think about it, you know, they're watching you and they're looking down on you, and that's what matters. But if somebody had told me that my grandma would not be here for my graduation ceremony, I never would have believed that, you know. So that's been kind of hard. But also, the hardest part for me about college ending was leaving my college counselor. Believe it or not. That woman did so much for me throughout college, and she made it a little easier to get through at times, and I will forever be appreciative of her, and I'm, like, really sad that I'm not gonna get to see her anymore. You know, I'm gonna try to, like, keep in touch and, like, touch base with her here and there, but it's sad. And, you know, like, yes, our last, like, meeting was yesterday, and I cried a lot because it's just sad. And, like, she was like, you know, I'm proud of you, and, like, I know I'm not your parent or anything, but, like, I'm kind of sad I'm not gonna get to see what's next for you and, like, see how you grow anymore. And, like, she's like, I've noticed a big difference from when you started coming to me to now, and I'm proud of you. And, like, that just really hit me hard, and that was the hardest ending. You know, like, I haven't had to, like, say goodbye to friends yet, or any other, like, professors, because, like, there was no professors that I really liked like that. So that was really hard for me. Believe it or not, the hardest part of college ending was saying goodbye to my counselor. My college counselor, I will never forget her, and she was a big part of my college experience, and I'm very grateful that I got a good counselor, because I did not choose her. And, you know, souls don't meet for no reason, you know. So yeah, I can't believe that this is happening, and I don't think it's good. You know, it's like, it's not over till it's over. Like, it's not going to be over until, like, graduation, until the ceremony's done. I'm a little bit like, what do I do with my life now? What do I do with my extra free time? Even though, don't worry, I will not have very much extra free time. Because that time will just become time to work on my businesses and have fun, and maybe pick up a couple extra shifts at work and whatever, and just keep going. And I'm excited for the new beginning a little bit. Like, I remember being very excited when high school was over for, like, the new chapter of my life and the new beginning. And even though I'm getting emotional, even though it's hard and it's scary, Change is beautiful and change is necessary, and without change there would be no butterflies. And on that note, I think that's all I have to say. Congratulations to my class of 2024, whether you're graduating high school or college or trade school or whatever, congratulations. You did it. I am proud of you. Like, everyone right now is either like done already or finishing up, so congrats. Congratulations, grads. Caps off to you. I hope you all have an amazing celebration and ceremony, and you had a good college experience or high school or whatever. And I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.